Welcome back to the Whisper Knows. This is the place where stories don't scream, they whisper. Tonight's question is simple, and once you hear it, you won't be able to unhear it. Turn the lights down, listen closely, because sometimes the air changes before anything else does, and sometimes that change means you're not alone. What if it's true that the smell of rain means she's near again? Not the sound of thunder, not the feeling of drops against the glass, just the smell. That cold, metallic, almost sweet scent that rises from the ground before the first drop even falls. Petrichor. Most people say it's just science, bacteria in the soil, ozone in the air, electricity before a storm. But what if it's something else? What if it's a warning? Ethan first noticed it 3 weeks after she died. Her name was Mara. She loved storms, not gently, not poetically. She chased them. She would stand barefoot on the porch when the sky turned green and the air thickened, eyes closed, breathing deeply like she was inhaling something sacred. "The air smells alive," she used to say. The night she died, there was no storm, just clear skies, still air, a quiet road. The accident report said it was instant, hydroplaning without rain, a patch of oil, loss of control, no witnesses. Ethan didn't remember much about the funeral, just the silence afterwards, the way the house felt larger, colder, hollowed out. 3 weeks later, at 2:13 a.m., he woke up. Not from a sound, from a smell. Rain. Fresh, sharp, like wet pavement and charged air. He sat up slowly. The bedroom window was closed. The sky outside was clear and starless. No clouds, no wind. The scent intensified. It wasn't faint. It was present, immediate, as if someone had opened a door to a storm that wasn't there. He whispered her name without meaning to. "Mara?" The scent vanished instantly. The next day, he checked the weather reports. No rain for 70 miles. He told himself it was grief, the brain misfiring, memory bleeding into the senses, until it happened again. This time, he was in the kitchen, afternoon sunlight through the window, the air warm and dry, and then petrichor. Strong enough to taste. His hands froze over the sink. He didn't speak this time. He waited. The refrigerator hummed, the clock ticked, and for a split second, he felt something behind him. Not touch, not movement, presence. The scent faded. Ethan began documenting it. Time, location, intensity. It always came the same way, sudden, localized, impossible, and always when he was alone. A week later, the scent didn't fade. It lingered. It filled the hallway, the living room, the bedroom. The air grew heavy like before a storm, except outside, the sky was painfully blue. "Mara," he whispered again. The hallway light flickered, once, twice, then steadied. Ethan didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in patterns. So he started looking for one. The smell appeared only inside the house, never outside, never in his car, never at work, only in the spaces she had loved. The porch, the kitchen sink where she would watch storms roll in, the bedroom window, and always at night. The 3rd week after it began, Ethan did something he hadn't done since the accident. He opened her closet. Her clothes still hung exactly as she left them. The faint trace of her perfume lingered in the fabric, but beneath it, rain, stronger than ever before.
The scent wrapped around him, suffocating, electric, and then he heard it. Not thunder, not wind, breathing. Slow, soft, right behind him. Ethan spun around. The closet was empty. The scent intensified, almost metallic now, sharp in his throat. He stepped backward and collided with the bedroom door. The hallway beyond looked darker than it should be. He took one step forward. The air grew colder. Another step. The scent thickened, saturating the house, and then from the end of the hallway, a drop. He heard it hit the floor. Ethan's stomach tightened. There was no leak, no storm, no source. Another drop. Then another, slow, measured, like something walking. He followed the sound. Each step echoed too loudly in the silent house. The droplets formed a trail along the hardwood floor, but they weren't water. They were darker, reflective. He crouched and touched one, cold, wet, but when he lifted his fingers to the light, they were dry. The drops began appearing faster now, one after another, forming a path toward the living room window. The smell was overwhelming. Ozone, earth, electricity. The window glass fogged from the inside, and on the fogged surface, a handprint. Small, familiar. Ethan felt his breath catch in his chest. The handprint slid downward slowly, leaving a streak of condensation behind. And then he heard her voice, not in the room, inside his head. "You forgot the storm." He staggered backward. The words weren't accusing, they were disappointed. The smell surged violently, like the first burst of rain hitting dry asphalt. The front door rattled, the lights flickered again, and outside the sky darkened, not gradually, instantly. Clouds rolling in from nowhere, swallowing the stars. Thunder cracked overhead. Rain began to fall in sheets against the roof. Ethan stared at the window. The handprint was gone. The trail of droplets had vanished. The hallway was dry, but the storm outside was real, very real. Ethan stepped onto the porch, heart pounding. The rain soaked through his shirt immediately. He looked up at the sky. The smell surrounded him now, amplified, alive, and in the corner of his vision, she stood at the edge of the yard, not fully visible, more like a distortion in the rain, a silhouette where the water didn't fall, watching him, waiting. The thunder rolled again, and she was gone. The storm lasted exactly 13 minutes. Then the sky cleared as abruptly as it had darkened. The air returned to stillness, but the smell remained, faint, lingering, like a promise. Ethan stood alone in the yard long after the clouds disappeared. He didn't feel comfort. He didn't feel fear. He felt certainty. The smell wasn't random. It wasn't grief. It was a signal, and it was getting stronger. That night, as he lay in bed, the scent drifted in again, soft, deliberate. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He listened. And this time, beneath the smell of rain, he heard something else, a whisper, close to his ear. "Next time, don't wake up." The air turned ice cold, the smell thickened, and Ethan realized something he hadn't considered before. The rain wasn't bringing her back, it was bringing something with her.
Ethan didn't sleep after the whisper. "Next time, don't wake up." The words replayed in his mind with unnatural clarity, not fading like dreams normally do. They sharpened instead, deepened, as if repeated from somewhere inside the walls. The smell of rain lingered in the room long after the air had gone still. He lay rigid in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, listening for breathing that wasn't his own. Nothing. only silence. Morning came too quickly, pale light filtering through the blinds. The scent was gone. The sky outside was dry, cloudless, indifferent. He told himself it had crossed a line. Grief could explain hallucinations, loneliness could explain imagination, but whispers that carried intent? That was something else. Ethan called in sick to work. He began researching petrichor, atmospheric shifts, neurological triggers associated with scent-induced memory recall. He read about how smell is directly tied to the limbic system, the emotional core of the brain, how it can evoke powerful, almost physical recollections. That explained nostalgia. It didn't explain the storm that formed out of nowhere. It didn't explain the handprint. It didn't explain the voice. That afternoon, the smell returned. No clouds, no humidity, just a sudden electric scent flooding the living room. He didn't whisper her name this time. He waited. The air thickened almost immediately, as if responding to restraint. The hallway darkened, not from lack of light, but from density, like the atmosphere itself was compressing. Then he heard footsteps, slow, bare, across hardwood. He forced himself to stay still. The steps stopped behind him. The scent intensified, metallic now, sharper than before. "Mara," he said, but softer. The response was immediate. A drop of water fell on his shoulder. He looked down. It soaked through his shirt. Cold, real. Another drop hit the floor. Then another. Then another. He turned. The hallway ceiling was dry, but the droplets continued forming in midair, descending slowly, deliberately, as if pulled downward by invisible fingers. They gathered on the floor, pooling unnaturally, and then they began moving, not spreading, sliding, toward him. Ethan stumbled backward. The droplets converged at his feet, rising slightly, defying gravity, forming a trembling shape no taller than his knee. The smell was suffocating now, rain and something rotten beneath it. The shape quivered, expanded, the outline stretched upward, elongating, thinning, until it resembled a human silhouette made of falling water. And within that distortion, he saw her face, not fully, like a reflection in a puddle disturbed by wind. "Mara?" he whispered again. The figure tilted its head. The motion was wrong, too sharp, too mechanical. "You stayed," the voice said. It wasn't quite hers anymore. It carried her tone, but layered with something deeper, hollow, like an echo from a well. "You weren't supposed to stay." Ethan's throat tightened. Stay from what? The rain shape shuddered. The temperature in the room dropped violently. Thunder cracked overhead. The sky outside blackened again, instant and absolute. The house groaned as if under pressure. "We almost crossed," the voice said. The walls vibrated. "Crossed where?" Ethan shouted. The figure flickered, breaking apart and reforming. "You called. When you called." His stomach dropped. The first night, when he whispered her name, the smell had vanished immediately, as if waiting for permission. The rain shape leaned closer. Water dripped from where its eyes should have been. "It smelled like home," it said. The words carried hunger. "You remembered her too well." Lightning split the sky outside, illuminating the silhouette in stark white. Ethan finally understood. It wasn't Mara. It was something that had followed the memory of her, something that moved through grief the way rain moves through soil, something that needed recognition to solidify. The storm intensified unnaturally fast. Rain battered the windows. The house shook. "You called," the voice repeated. Ethan shook his head. "I called her." The figure laughed.
The sound wasn't audible. It was pressure in his ears, distortion in the air. There is no difference. The rain body expanded, filling the hallway, pressing against walls and ceiling, stretching toward him. The smell became unbearable, electric, metallic, decaying. "We need shelter," it whispered. "Shelter," Ethan breathed. "Memory is shelter." The rain lashed harder outside. Droplets began forming on every surface, walls, furniture, ceiling. Not from leaks, from within, condensation blooming like infection. Ethan backed towards the front door. "You don't belong here," he said. The silhouette fractured, reforming closer. "You do." Lightning flashed again. For a split second, Ethan saw beyond the shape, not just Mara's outline, but countless others, faces suspended in rainfall, expressions frozen mid-scream, the missing, the forgotten, the ones no one remembered long enough. The smell of rain wasn't just a signal, it was accumulation, every unresolved grief, every unfinished goodbye, gathering. Ethan reached the door and yanked it open. The storm outside roared, wind howling violently. He stepped into the rain. The scent was overwhelming, saturating everything. He turned back towards the house. The silhouette hovered in the doorway, unable to cross the threshold. "You cannot leave," it said. Ethan closed his eyes. He did the only thing he hadn't tried. He stopped remembering. He let go of the porch storms, the barefoot laughter, the smell of ozone she loved. He let Mara fade, not erased, released. The rain paused, just for a second. The silhouette convulsed. "No," it whispered. The scent thinned, the pressure eased, the storm faltered. The rain weakened from violent sheets to scattered drops. The figure fractured, collapsing inward, unraveling into mist. "You forget, we forget," it hissed. And then, silence. The sky cleared, the yard stood empty. Ethan stood alone in the wet grass, shaking. The smell of rain dissipated into something ordinary, harmless. Days passed, then weeks. No scent, no storms from nowhere, no whispers. The house felt like a house again. Grief softened into something quiet and survivable. Until one evening, as he walked past a stranger on the sidewalk, the air shifted, subtle, familiar, petrichor, faint. He stopped walking. The stranger kept moving, but the scent lingered, soft, curious, like something searching. Ethan didn't speak. He didn't turn. He didn't call her name. The scent faded, but somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled. This has been The Whisper Knows, and sometimes the rain isn't falling from the sky. Sometimes it's falling from memory. Good night.
Subscribe if you dare to listen.